Hello and welcome back to another OnlyAccies podcast. Quite a lot for us to discuss today. We've got the digital season tickets going on sale for next season, live streams across the league. We've got 4 big players leaving the club this week in the space of 2 days. That's 4 players gone, 4 different statements. We're going to be looking at some of our transfer targets ahead of next season, and we'll be talking about some of the most famous, or infamous I should say, duds that have come through Hamilton. So first of all, Brandon, I'd like to know your opinion on the news. Live streaming is going to be available next season for the clubs, for the fans. A lot of clubs have came out this afternoon when we're recording this and saying that if you bought a season ticket for next season, that will also classify as a digital season ticket, so you will be able to view the live streams. But for teams like us who are choosing not to put season tickets on sale, what do you think that means for us? Are you excited about that prospect? What's your opinions?
Well, the first thing you were expecting as soon as you saw that was all such the funny people we have in Scottish football with it's not going to affect OnlyAccies anyway at us, which is just shite. But no, like, as long as I'm able, like, in my opinion, people say obviously football without fans is nothing, but then when you say OnlyAccies, we've barely got any fans, but it's the game experience. It doesn't matter if we've got 2 fans or 60,000 fans, in my opinion. It's just not the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of watching football on the telly, if I'm being honest with you. Obviously, with being Accies, it'll be a lot different. But I hate missing games just in general, unless I really need to miss the games.
Yeah.
So that'll be weird, but it's just going to be what we're going to need to deal with. But at least we're getting something, I suppose. It could be worse. There could be we're not being able to see the games at all.
Yeah.
So it will be good, but it'll be interesting to see how Accies they work it.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've announced that there's not going to be season tickets, so how they're going to deal with people getting these virtual season tickets will be interesting, and it'll also be interesting to see how they film the games as well.
Yeah.
I think that'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely. To say the least. I mean, we know what Hamilton are like with digital payments, and I mean, we only just got a card machine in the shop, I think, last season. Sky have said, though, that they've agreed to it, but the reason this is such a big deal with Sky is because Sky have agreed the rights to it, so they're allowing them to live stream them. However, it is up to the club to do so. Sky are not going to have a part in it. It's going to be the club to maintain and run this live stream. Now, for teams like Celtic and Rangers, and I know Hearts do and Hibs do, they already have a digital team. A Hibs TV, a Celtic TV, where international fans can live stream the games for a fee. But for teams like Hamilton, who don't have that at all, they don't have an international fan service, it's going to be interesting to see how the club handle getting all that set up, and of course the fans who will buy. Because let's be honest, like you said, most of our fans, we are small in numbers, but we try not to miss any games. That's kind of that's our mantra. So we will buy it, we will watch it, but will the quality be worth the price is my fear. That's what I'm kind of fearful of.
I'm sure Accies will make the most of it with maybe their sort of other ventures in the background. They'll make sure to advertise certain things.
Yep.
That's what I'll cringe probably at when this goes through. I don't really want to see what they attempt to advertise throughout when the games are on. But yeah, it's going to be a weird one. It will be really weird. But fingers crossed, the Marcus Nash and his gang get something intact that will be decent for us. But we'll just need to wait and see.
Absolutely. I wish him the best of luck, and I cross my fingers that it is going to go well. I would like your opinion, however, on the away games, because obviously these live streams only feature for home fans. I'm interested in the prospect of, will we be able to watch away streams without having to illegally stream them? Will we be able to pay an extra fee to be able to view away games? Is that something you'd be interested in? Would you only pay for home games? What would you think about that?
So you'd think that, well, I'm not a marketing man, but you'd think surely, with regards to the TV channels, that if it's going to be Accies, and Accies aren't using season ticket money for you to have a virtual season ticket as such, surely there's some sort of subscription that each club can agree with each other, that certain fans pay a certain amount and they have access to that, rather than always jumping on body
his goal.
Whatever. I haven't even watched what they call it, like his goals, for instance, and watching Livingston at home to Hamilton, you'd surely they'd be sensible in that way to resolve a sort of situation to suit both the home and away fans. But the Scottish football still.
I agree with you there. I think if the clubs can come together and agree something to let fans watch away games, that's something that I would definitely be interested in. I'm sure a lot of fans would. What I did see quite a lot in some Accies comments and forums today was some of them wishing that Accies had given them the option to buy a season ticket, rather than just saying, not put them on sale. I don't know if I agree with that technically. I do like the fact they're not going on sale, and it means that we would only pay for a digital one, but a lot of fans saying it would help the club in this time, and they're more than happy to pay it. We know fans have helped save the club in the past. I'm not saying they need saving at this point, but it could obviously help. What do you think of that aspect? Are you happy with how they've run it with not putting season tickets up?
I don't think if they thought it was going to be a big detriment to themselves, they wouldn't not put season tickets themselves. They're clever with their money, very shrewd with their money. They know what they're doing. So they obviously don't think it's going to affect them in the long haul. So no, let them. They seem, apart from the whole losing $1 million scandal, they seem fairly clever with their money. Apart from that, but no, I'll just go with it there. If they're going to be in trouble, then I'd rather they tell us they're going to be in trouble. But they know what they're talking about.
Absolutely. Now, I mentioned at the start there, we've had quite a big week, quite a big few days. 4 statements in 2 days, I believe it was. 4 players who have mentioned plenty on the podcast before. Oakley and Miller, George Oakley, Alex Gogic, and of course Adam McGowan all put the statements up thanking the club, the staff, the players and the fans for their time, but it is time to move on. I don't want to spend too much time on this topic. We've discussed it much already, and a lot of people have already seen it online. But Oakley and Miller officially left the club, not signed for a club yet, not know where he's going. George Oakley, he's been linked with a move to Bulgaria.
This is one I wanted to talk about, because I looked at the article about him going to Bulgaria, and it says that he's linked with Dimitar Berbatov's first team.
Mm-hmm.
On a quick look, Berbatov's team's first team was CSK Sofia, who's the big dogs in Bulgaria. But as a youth player, he was actually at a Division 2 team, Sutton Perrin.
Right.
And they're managed by a former Northern Ireland player, Warren Feeney,
right,
who's a big goal scorer for Northern Ireland. So I'm thinking it's maybe more so, no offence to George Oakley, but CSK Sofia are in about the Champions League spots sometimes. So I would more so think, especially with the British connection as well, that it could be the other team, CSK Sofia. But who knows, it might be Sofia, but it wasn't very clear in that article who was going for Bulgaria.
It seems very much as if it's up in the air. I know he was quoted to say that he's excited by the prospect. I'm sure I read that he was interested in going aboard. Listen, if he does, again, we wish him the best of luck. I do think from what you've just told me there, it does seem as if it's going to be that other team. I can't imagine him really, fighting for Champions League places.
You never know, to be fair, you never know. I don't know. Bulgarian standard of football is probably fairly similar to ourselves, if not a little bit worse. So it might be Sofia, but when I noticed that Warren Feeney being the manager of the other team, that sort of clicked in my head. But who knows? Plus, I think Bulgaria being a sunny country will
help him.
Will help him in his luscious looks.
I've mentioned this. I believe it was the podcast with Ben Guthrie that I mentioned this. I saw Adam McGowan. I saw George Oakley. Sorry, I've got AJ on the brain. I saw George Oakley down Strathclyde Park, and he looks as if he's bulked, like really bulked. Put muscle on, and at the time I thought he's been told by the club they're going to go for a similar kind of style to what they've been doing when they've put Augie and Moyo up top. So Augie, the big guy, to just, to bully defenders, get in about them, and then Moyo to do a lot of the running. And I thought they've maybe said to him, bulk up, you can maybe take that Marius Ogdenpole role, and it means we can bring Oggy in and out the team yourself. But he's obviously gone now. I don't know what's happening with him. Like I said, we wish him the best of luck. If he goes to Bulgaria, then who knows what will happen. We'll keep an eye on him, I'm sure, though. The next player, obviously, Alex Gogic, who's been linked to quite a few clubs, actually, recently. We didn't know whether he was actually leaving, where he was going, until yesterday, when he put a statement up again thanking everybody. He's been linked with Hibs, St Mirren has been thrown in and around. What do you think about this? Is it a club that you see him going to necessarily, or where do you see him going?
Obviously, we've talked about it previously, and I think me and you had a conversation just after the Kelly game, and you said you had
yeah.
So I hate it when an Accies player goes to another Scottish team. I absolutely despise it, especially someone that sort of plays in week in, week out, because you just don't want to see them up against yourself, because it's always that them scoring, them having an effect on Accies negatively, coming back to biting arse. So I absolutely hate it, and that's what's pissed me off massively with the AJ thing. But with regards to Gogic, I hope he does get an alright move. I wouldn't like to see him going to a St Mirren. If he goes to Hibs, then fair enough. Like I said, I don't think he'd start week in, week out with Hibs, but I'd prefer to see him go abroad, maybe to, a separate team or something. God knows.
Well, I didn't hear any specifics about him going abroad, but what I did hear in those rumours was he's been offered more money abroad. Now, whether that means, going to Greece, whether that means...
Greece would probably... I said Cyprus there, their fit was even worse than ours. So, aye. Greece would be a good shout.
But whether that means that, whether it means going to, like, Bulgaria, whatever, that's all I heard, but it is looking more and more likely that he'll be staying in Scotland. Like, I agree with you, I would hate the prospect of him going to St Mirren. Just the prospect of him being in and around this dogfight with us and choosing to go to a team that would pay him a little bit more money.
It's the mere fault so that they bastards seem to think they're this massive team.
Yeah.
And they're really not. Do you know what I mean? And they seem to think they have this one over on us all the time. And they just really irritate me at mum these days. So I wouldn't like to see him going there. Goes to Hibs, then aye, fair enough. But if he goes to St Mirren, nah, will only be my...
No, I absolutely agree with you. And obviously the final player to be leaving is, of course, AJ, Adam McGowan. We're all very much upset about it, let's be honest. A lot of people saying that he's replaceable, and I do agree, everybody's replaceable, and I believe you've mentioned in the podcast before, nobody in this club is irreplaceable. But as a little bit of a kick in the teeth, I think. Obviously everyone knows about how well he gets on with the fans, and a win ratio with him and the team is immense. But it's just one of those things where the rumour is we've offered him a contract, a 2-year deal that was unacceptable. I hate getting into rumours about money and all that, because really we know nothing. But the rumour we offered him a pay cut. I think if that's the case, it's ridiculous. And even in this current climate, a lot of people have said with the likes of Johnny Hunt, Steve Davies, and Blair Alston leaving, that's freed up a hell of a lot of wage.
Big wages.
Exactly.
Johnny Hunt was in 1,500 apparently quoted.
Yeah, and if we've lost that and not given what we can to Adam McGowan, I think that's poor oversight from the club. What's interesting most about that, though, is the links that have came out. So obviously we all thought he was going back down south. He still might. We're being told that maybe going into League 1 or League 2, he's homesick, he wants to be back down near his family. And then this links out of nowhere to Kilmarnock. It was a Kilmarnock fan page that posted it, so whether there's any truth behind it is yet
to be fair, it came for the Herald originally, so it was the Herald, and it's quite a thingy newspaper, so it makes sense in a way for Kilmarnock, because Stephen O'Donnell's left. He goes there, but it's another case of, I just hate seeing a player going to somewhere similar to us. People might say, oh, Kilmarnock, much bigger wages than ourselves, bigger attendance and that, but they're not that different. Apart from their Steve Clark era, they weren't that sort of, they're not that far away from us at all. We bet them the last game before this, do you know what I mean? So it's annoying, the fact that if we could have just gave AJ, I know obviously these times are all uncertain,
Yeah.
and they need to be shrewd with their money, but you'd think when you're releasing all the players, some of the wages are going to be there freed up. You'd give maybe one or two, i.e. Gogic and McGowan, who seemed as if there was a possibility they could have stayed if that was given.
Yeah.
So you'd have thought the club would have just gave them his current wage, if not a bit more, to try and keep him there. Because I think if he wasn't given a deduction, which was apparently happened, he would have stayed, because you saw what he was posting with Hampton.
Yeah.
Throughout this, don't believe what you hear, etc. So it is a bit of a kick in the teeth. I don't know. The club will know more than us, so it's up to the club really to justify that.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting for them to maybe come out and say if that's true or not, which I'll leave to Mr. Maitland.
I mean, like you said, if we offered them a pay cut, I think it's ridiculous, and they do need to be shrewd with their money, and I totally understand it. I get it, but like you said, we've freed up a lot of wages there. If we offer them a pay cut, if we offer them a pay cut in their current climate, I can understand why they're doing it, because like we say, we need to be shrewd with money. But he's a young guy. He loves playing for the club. He loves the league. He's said that before. He's our captain. You know, he's captained the team when we beat Rangers. It's one of those things where the mind boggles genuinely at why that has happened. But like you said, the club know more than we do. All we can do is...
It'll be annoying. See if the clubs let that happen for him to go to a Kilmarnock. It will really piss me off. But
I mean, listen, it's a good move. It's a good move for Kilmarnock.
We've got over a lot worse.
Yep,
you know,
exactly.
what I mean? A lot worse things have happened. Like we both said, everyone's irreplaceable. It's obviously it's going to piss us off. Do you know what I mean? But nobody's irreplaceable. We've got over worse heartaches with players leaving before, so we'll just need to carry on as we always do.
That's it, and that kind of brings us quite nicely when we've talked about players leaving. Is there any possibility of players joining? So I asked online if MD had any transfer targets, MD that they would like to see at Accies next season. Now,
some of these are fucking ridiculous.
Some of these are, and I just want to put this out there before, I do not agree with every name I'm going to say, right? These are just names that fans have given me, I've seen, online. I do not agree and do not want every player I'm going to mention here, but I have to say them because they've been suggested. Now, Scott Struthers has been quite open online about how there is no actual starting date for the transfer window yet. So we don't know when teams will be able to bring MD in, but with the squad being depleted so much, it looks as if we will need people in. It's a very, very weak squad. We've lost the kind of core of it, really. So I'll be interested to see what happens. Now, we've got 29 players signed up for next season. We've got 3 goalkeepers, plenty of defenders, handful of midfielders, and obviously we've got a few forwards as well. But we do need to strengthen, let's be realistic. Now that we've lost our holding midfielder, our goalkeeper's gone back to Reading, we've lost a striking option, and then of course our right back. So a few of these names, like I said, I don't agree with, but I feel they kind of need to read them out. So the first one that I saw that's a few fans asked me about was Luke Southwood. Would he come back on loan? I think that if we offered him personally, he probably would. But Reading are very interested in him. He's just signed a 2-year contract with them. He's going to be in and around their team next year. And if he does get loaned...
The current situation as well, it's not just going to affect Scottish football, it will affect English football.
Absolutely.
You won't see as much signings, etc. More youth will be getting a chance. So, no, I don't see him getting loaned out again. I think he'll be on their bench at a minimum.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And like you said, it's not just affecting us, it's affecting them. And they've got a good young keeper there. If he was to be loaned out, I imagine it'd be to another English team. But like you said, I imagine he'll be in around the Reading squad, and I do fully believe that. I'm going to say this name and then move on. Wes Foderingham, just been released by Rangers. His wages are obviously ridiculously too high, and there's no way he would sign for Hamilton. Another name that I saw...
Plus he's, as Paolo Di Canio calls him, a Subbuteo goalkeeper. he's nothing special.
Another name that get thrown about, would they jump ship? Would they move to the other side of the dual carriageway? Richard Tate, the right back, who's just been released from Motherwell. He's a player I would be interested in. A good player, obviously captained Motherwell, plenty of experience, but not somebody I can see joining the club at all.
Nah, I doubt it. I think he, similar to certain Accies players, he had a bit of a hatred for Accies as well. So same with that Hartley. I don't think they wouldn't jump ship.
Yeah, well, that Hartley was another name. Peter Hartley, obviously, the club captain, again on a free. Again, the players that I would absolutely take Tate and Hartley, but like you said, they're not the ones that would jump ship. When they both got released, or their contracts were up, they both put up statuses saying how much they loved the club and they wore the shirt with pride. I cannot see them.
So if you're posting that, then fuck them well.
Exactly. I cannot see them joining. But their names were thrown about. Somebody I am interested in, and I reckon we could probably sign Stephen Whittaker. Another right back, just been released from Hibs. He's in his mid-30s now. I still think he could do a job for us though. Extremely experienced.
I don't get me wrong, I'd take him, but wages, I don't know if we could, wages-wise.
See, I think he's one of the players where, he's at an age now where he's not got a whole lot left. He's not going to want to spend half a season without a club. I think if we offered him a wage, it's one of the things where they would be desperate to get a wage, they would sign. We wouldn't obviously be able to pay him what he was on at Hibs, or what he's been on in the past, but extremely experienced, played in the Premier League obviously with Norwich, so he's got that link with Alex Neil, and obviously he's very experienced within the Scottish game. Somebody I would love to see come in, and somebody I think is a realistic target. I'd be interested to see if anything comes from that. Again, these are all just from my brain, these are not linked in any way. I've not seen it in the paper or online, these are just suggestions. Another name that's came up that I think splits opinion is Richard Foster, who's just been released from Ross County. Again, another fullback. He's been very outspoken in the press about clubs not offering contracts for players that are on loan just for a bit of security. Would you be interested in seeing
a bit of a ball bag? I'd take him just so we could see Amy McDonald every Saturday.
I said in line that I wouldn't take Richard Foster. I think his attitude
stinks. I genuinely wouldn't take him. That was a wee joke.
I think his attitude stinks.
I wouldn't take him. His attitude stinks.
The most
God knows
famous...
how she puts up with him, but
the most famous thing I've ever seen him do is fight his own teammate at Hammond when he started just absolutely swinging.
That won me £400 because the bookies hadn't updated their prices at half time when they were having 9 men, so we all jumped on that and bet Accies.
Class.
It was quite a late goal as well, wasn't it?
It was a late goal.
Alex de Cool.
Alex de Cool, by the way.
There's a flash of the fan.
One of the players I actually really liked at the club. Again, another name I'm just going to skip by, Andy Halliday. No way he would ever come to Accies.
No, thank you.
Stephen Hendry, another realistic target, I think. 25 years old, on a free transfer. He's just left Kelly. We know he's obviously got a link with the club before. He's still really good friends with people like Sean Want. A realistic target I can see Accies doing, come back to your old club, they can market that, another Accies youth prospect returning to the club. Still mid-20s, so still got plenty left in him. Could he do a job at right back? Would he replace Scott McMahon at left back?
That one.
So
I think it does make sense. Gives you defensive options. Won't expect that much wages.
Yep.
So, and I think it makes sense, that one. So why not?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a transfer that I would be happy to see. Obviously, he went to West Ham, I think, for like £1 million it was reported or something at the time, and did nothing there. Went on loan, obviously, to a few English teams. Played for Motherwell as well. So there's another link for you. But yeah, like you said, good squad player. Obviously, good backup to Scott McMahon. What I would be interested to see, actually, and a lot of people have asked for this, is a lot of people are saying Scott McMahon is not a fullback. Scott McMahon is a left midfielder. He's a winger. He likes to get forward. We know that. So would that open up the option to play Stephen Hendry as a left back and push Scott McMahon further up the pitch?
A very attacking left hand side. That
very attacking left hand side. But it's something I saw online. I thought I'd be definitely be interested to see Scott McMahon further up the pitch. Another name that was thrown out was Ricky Lamey. Obviously a free transfer from Livingston. 26 years old, can play at centre back and left back. For me, yes, definitely a player I'd be interested in, but it looks as if he's on his way to Motherwell on a free transfer, team back up with Declan Gallagher.
The thing, obviously, a lot of players are getting released, etc. You're going to have people saying they're interested in certain players.
Yeah.
I think the fact that we've not been able to keep 4 fairly key players, we're not going to go for MD at this present moment at all until anything's set in stone. Do you know what I mean? Because why would they not have kept? Don't change something that you know is good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if they're not going to offer their players money, then why are they going to offer other teams' former good players money? If you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
but,
I absolutely agree.
Well, obviously there's always going to be speculation and people counting names, but I don't see us signing MD anytime soon.
I don't either, if I'm being honest. Like I said, a few players on this list I would be interested in.
I know, don't get me wrong, Ricky Lemmy would be a cracking signing, but the fact we're not being able to offer certain players a wage, I don't think we'd be able to offer him one, because I think he'll go to a upper end SPFL team, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him at Motherwell joining Declan Gallagher. Again, that back line. It makes sense for them as well, obviously just losing Hartley and Tate, another defensive option for them. I wouldn't be surprised to that. And the final name on this was, of course, Stephen Lawless, who is a Hamilton boy, again released from Livingston, but again it looks as if he's on his way to Motherwell on a free transfer.
We've offered them a wage before. They're a mile out usually. Been told, Accies are always a mile out with their wages with Lawless, so he's for Hamilton, but I think Motherwell makes the most sense there, in my opinion.
Absolutely agree. Those are the names that I kind of had on my list for transfer suggestions. I'd be interested if anybody has any that have been listening to this that we didn't mention. Let us know in the comments. What do you think?
There's quite a lot of St Mirren players that have been released. I've noticed that I think any player that get released there with St Mirren, I would not mind as a squad player at Accies. Tony Andrew.
See, I deliberately didn't mention Tony Andrew because I didn't think there was any real interest in Tony, but he has a free transfer now. You know, maybe bring him back for a third time, and see if we can relight that spark. But yeah, that boat has sailed. That boat has sailed long ago. Whatever happens to him, we wish him the best of luck, but he's not going to be back at Accies. Now, moving on quite nicely, we've talked about players who could possibly coming in, players who are leaving. These are players who have been at the club and are considered duds. So, Brandon, this was your suggestion. You have quite an interesting look at how to describe a dud. How you class a dud? So, would you like to explain that?
So, obviously, in our generation, majority of our time has been in the top tier of Scottish football. We've been lucky enough as an Accies fan to watch that. Me growing up as a younger guy, I watched us growing through the divisions as well. So an Accies dud for me isn't necessarily just saying, oh, he's fucking shite. Because someone that was horrendous in the top tier,
so 2 seconds, man. Sorry, you're a bit laggy and the audio was a bit messed up. Try speaking. You're muted.
There we go. That better?
Yeah, right. Okay. If you just continue from where you were.
I necessarily. A one?
Yeah, you're all good.
That's right. No good with technology. Right. So it necessarily doesn't mean just that player is fucking shite. It could be that he's came with a bit of a pedigree and then he's just been fucking woeful.
Yeah.
He saw and left within 2 days. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be in. As an Accies fan, this list could be fucking the length of my flat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It could fucking. We saw a lot of absolute horse meat. Do you know what I mean? So it was hard to pick 5 players, and I'm sure I could go on for days, but I have just came up with a certain people in my head.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I had to chop this list down to 5 players. Like you said, not all of them played for the club. A lot of them did and were woeful. I'd be interested to know. I'll let you start, Brandon. Who's the first name on your list? Who stands out for you?
I'll go with Damien Castellanovo.
I knew you were going to say it. You mentioned him before.
As an Accies fan, we don't usually get the excitement of seeing us buying actual pay money and buying an actual player.
Yep.
We signed a striker that we're thinking, oh, this is going to be the real deal. We've just paid 50 grand for a player. And the only memory I have of him is against Dundee United in the cup. The keeper home,
Right.
kicks the ground and falls in his face.
He's like, you need to say that again, man. You cracked up again. You need to say that again.
Alright, so so the only memory I've got of him, because he didn't score a single goal when he's now a mortgage advisor in Argentina, is that he was one-on-one with, we were playing Dundee United. All he has to do is slot it home. What does he do? Kicks the ground, falls in his face. And there you go, Damien Castlenovo, 50 grand buys you kicking the ground.
Very, very good name to start off the list. My first player is Christopher Mandiangu, who some Accies fans may not even know. Mandiangu was a player that joined a left winger, German, young, very exciting. When you go on his Twitter, it's still to this day, I still check it every now and then just to see. His cover photo is him and Mario Götze. Is currently at Dortmund, obviously, scored the winning goal in the World Cup. Of them two in the German under-21 team. Now, me and my friend Lewis, when he signed, saw this photo and we thought, this is it. We have signed the best player in the world. He's another Mario Götze. He's going to come in and set as a light. He didn't play a single game for the club. I heard rumours that he came in, did a few training sessions, and his attitude was stinking.
No, that's not right. He came on at Annan.
Did he get a game?
He played like 3 sub appearances.
Did he? Wow, okay, that's...
Because one of my pals has actually got a match won, Chris, at Mandiangu thought. Yeah, and this is even the worst bit. The cunt paid £15 for it.
Nah, that's horrendous. So Mandiangu makes a list for me. I don't know.
One note with Chris Mandiangu as well. I was the exact same when he signed German youth. Exciting German youth signs with Accies. We done a bit of research on him. You see that his profile picture was him and Mario Götze back in the day, which is probably as relevant as you getting a school photo with Lewis Ferguson and putting that as your picture.
Here, can I just say, I was in Lewis Ferguson's accounting class.
Exactly. So why don't you should put a picture? There's your claim to fame.
There's my claim to fame, Lewis Ferguson. Actually, funny story about talking about the school and Accies players. One day, Tony Andrew and
the Mac.
Was it Mac? Yeah, who came to my school. And I remember I wish I had photos. I did get photos with them on my old iPod, so they're long gone. But I remember being really excited. They came in, nobody gave a fuck. Obviously, everyone's Celtic and Rangers. Nobody cared. I think there was a handful of us who genuinely cared. They were very nice though, and very nice to stand and take photos. But they came to my school. They were very well dressed. A lot of designer stuff. The two like how they look. But nobody else cared other than me and a handful of players. So who was next on your list, Brandon? Who's next to your dud list?
I'm going to go with a quite obscure one that not a lot of people remember.
Okay.
Kevin Welsh.
Kevin Welsh.
So Kevin Welsh played one game on the Saturday and was sent out on loan on the Monday. Kevin Welsh. Kevin Welsh's dad drank in the same pub as Billy Reid. And Billy Reid promised him it would give him a game because he was a big Rangers fan. So Billy Reid signed him, played him at Ibrox, and then he sent him out on loan to Alloa on the Monday. Played 3 games for Alloa, and Alloa says he's shite, and then it was just never to be seen again.
Again, like you said, I no idea. I've just looked him up here. It says on his Wikipedia page that for an unknown amount of appearances and for an unknown amount of years, he's played for Hairstains AFC, which is in Kirkintilloch. Obviously, not a professional team, but Sunday League football was the last we've seen of him. 35 years old, not a name I recognise.
Like I said, his dad drank in the same pub as Billy Reid, and I don't know if it's been a lost bet or whatever it's been. He signed him and withdrew him into Ibrox away, and then that is all we saw him. So there's one of my shouts.
Honestly, that's ridiculous. That's
a Hamilton Accies story.
Only Hamilton Accies could have a player sign in the pub and then sent out on loan the next minute. Next name on my list is Matty Phillips. We got on loan from Norwich. And at the time, I thought Alex Neil's there. He's recommended this player to us. A creative midfielder, which we kind of needed, a deep-lying creative midfielder. I saw him play a handful of games, and he did not set the world alight. He was not fantastic. But what got me most was he was here for a few weeks and then disappeared. And I remember asking on Twitter, this was pre-Marcus Nash, where Twitter was irrelevant to Hamilton, where he was, what was going on with him. You know, he's not in the squads. You know, what's happening. And next thing you know, he's returned to Norwich, and he's on loan to Burnley. So where did that come from? Totally out of nowhere. I have no idea. I believe he's still at Burnley. He was in the Burnley under-23 squad last time I heard. But he came in and then disappeared. Like I said, he wasn't horrible. He wasn't a horrible player. He wasn't somebody that I thought, Jesus, why did we loan this boy in? It just looked as if he was trying to get up to pace with our game and understand how it worked. And then next thing you know, he was back down in England. So I don't know what happened behind the scenes there, but Matt Phillips takes up the second spot on my list.
Another one for me is Charlie Scott.
I wish I'd put Charlie Scott in mine as well. It's a great shout.
Like I say, there's hundreds of people I can say, and there's similar ones to yourself, but Charlie Scott got from Man United on loan, with the most signing announcement in history of anything.
The infamous signing announcement. Jesus.
But I came from Man U. You think bit of pedigree about him. At least gave him a good announcement, but I think that the way in which we announced him just summed up him as a footballer and his Aki's career as such. And I've noticed that he's, I saw it in the Sports Bible or something, a couple of weeks ago, that he's now working as a labourer on a site somewhere. So how the mighty have fallen.
So for anybody who maybe didn't see the announcement, there was a link put up on Twitter to the Aki's website. You went on it, and there was one sentence that simply said, Charlie Scott has joined us on loan from Manchester United. And the photo, Jesus Christ, the photo they put up was sideways and was cropped poorly, so you could barely see him and who he was standing with. It was a horror show. And like you said, he was released from Man United, and he now works as a labourer. So I wish him the best of luck, but again, not a player like you said who did anything spectacular. Next player on my list is Blair Adams, a left back who signed from Cambridge United. He was in his late 20s, early 30s. He played fairly consistently for Cambridge United in League 2. And I thought, you know, experienced player coming up here, experience in the Scottish game, maybe not too bad. I will not say one of the worst defenders, I'll leave that for my last name in my list, but a horrendous fullback. You talk about Blair Olsen being the Tin Man. This guy takes the mantle of the Tin Man. As slow as a week in the jail, could not turn, could not defend, could not pass, and he made 5 games and then was promptly replaced. A horrible fullback, and not somebody I would have in the team anytime soon.
So many.
This is the thing. This is the problem making a dud list for Hamilton. There are so many names.
Exactly. Quite a big, Luis Ruyables, who most folk will only know as the infamous man that took Spain out of the World Cup. So we've signed with this person, Luis Ruyables. This is a year which we made so many changes in. We signed Marvin Andrews, Pak Giles, Ruyables, Izzy Erikpin, so Jai P. Kissuk, another horrendous name. David Long Lahuhu. So that's how I pronounced his name anyway. David Long Lahuhu. So we signed so many players that season that only played maximum 3 games or something for us. And Luis Ruyables, left back, Baldy, came from Spain. Was told that he was a Barca youth player. He had played in the La Liga for a couple of seasons, so we were thinking, no, this is going to be a good player. I think he apparently got homesick. I don't know. He was here for three games and then just fucked off back to Spain, and then didn't hear him for a while, and then the last World Cup there, he was the famous guy that pulled Spain out the World Cup. So,
God, the Accies have got some links, haven't they? To weird players around the world. Last up on the dud list, I've got a defender who played a full season for Hamilton and played fairly consistently, but holds the mantle of one of the worst defenders I've ever seen in my life. Alex Penny, who came from Jamie Vardy's V7 Academy, V9 Academy, whatever it's called. A young English player, 21-year-old I think he was, came in, decent height, looks as if he had a good build. He played in some reserve games, and I remember watching him and thinking, this player actually looks alright, do you know what I mean? Little good bit of passing about him. And the first time you see him properly, Rangers at home, Stephen Boyd scores an absolute worldie on his left peg to draw us to 1 each. Rangers go straight up the other end of the pitch, and Alex Penny decides to throw himself to the ground and claw the ball away with his hand. And that obviously leads to Rangers getting a penalty, and then I think the game ended 4-1. They ended up scoring another 3. He conceded a penalty with a handball, and then another penalty for Phil Morelos. One of the worst defenders I've ever seen in my life. We won the Motherwell away game with him in the squad. So even Stephen Boyd again scored that worldie free kick, or that volley I should say. He played in that game, and I remember sitting in the stands and watching him get beaten constantly, one after the other. And then when the game finished, I genuinely said, I cannot believe he won that game with Alex Penny in the squad. He was one of the worst.
Fucking clown.
Honestly, genuinely one of the worst defenders I've ever seen in my life. He is up
I
in my
was
dud
saying,
list.
I thought he came with a bit of a background. Peterborough, he's got to be a good player.
Yep.
But then, you're right. Plus, he's a pervert, so...
no comment on that. No, that brings us... That ends us quite nicely for this week's podcast. Brandon, thank you.
You forgot you forgot Cosmo.
Oh, sorry, yes, of course. There is one more name. I don't even know how to pronounce this one. Kozoronis, I want to say. A Greek midfielder who we signed for free, a 2-year deal. And you were saying just before the podcast started, Les Gray labelled him as a £1 million player.
Doesn't have a clue how we've signed him. Ed fitting in any team bar Celtic in our division, and then did you even see where the fuck was he?
He never played a game. So basically, I was looking this up earlier because I wanted to be sure. So basically, what happened was he signed officially. He was in Scotland. He was in the stadium. He met Martin. Listen, maybe this is what happened. He met Martin Canning. And he thought, I'm not working. I'm not working here. But he met Martin Canning. There was a photo of them signing the contract. He signed a 2-year deal. He made 0 appearances. He then left us and signed for another Greek team. He went back to Greece and signed for Erkteles, I want to say. He signed for them, played 8 games in a year. Then he's went to this other Greek team and played 9 games in a year. And he's currently at Levadiakos, again no idea, Greek League 2, and in 2 years has played 15 games. So
£1 million player there.
That £1 million player has ended up being worth a hell of a lot less.
Guys, if you want to check out, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, there's a new magazine up and coming. It's called Stonewaller. It's about everything Scottish football. It's actually dead interesting in how they've brought Scottish football and brought music, and it's a mixture of different things. It seems like something that we're missing in Scottish football. For anybody that's into that sort of thing, podcasts, read magazines, etc., just go and have a look on their Twitter. So it's Stonewaller. If you go check their Twitter, you'll be able to see their Kickstarter campaign, and that's sort of to help them start out, get sort of the ball rolling for production with their magazines. Just go have a check out, and you'll be able to see better than me describing stuff, since I'm fucking horrendous describing.
So yeah, like Brandon said, we'll leave a link in the description to their Kickstarter. They're a new magazine mixing Scottish football and music. It looks great. And obviously they've got David Moyo in the first edition, an in-depth interview with him. So obviously Accies fans will be interested in that. If you want to go support them, We'll leave a link to their Kickstarter in the description. You can go ahead and donate whatever money you can to help them get started, because it looks like Brandon said something that's missing from Scottish football, and it would be a really, really interesting read. So go ahead, donate. We already have. Hopefully we'll get our first editions in soon, and we can have a proper read of it. But that does end us quite nicely for this week's.
And I think we just need to end it with Richard Roy. Just say
Richard Roy, Richard Roy, Botty Abbey.
Man.
These names again could have been on our list. I'm interested to see. Guys, let us know in the comment section on Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. What duds have we not mentioned? I'm sure you'll have plenty of them.
We'd be here all night. I could genuinely sit here and just name them off, but we'd be here all night. Exactly.
So let us know in the comments who your dud players are and why. Again, thank you very much, Brandon, for joining us on the OnlyAccies podcast.
No,
really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed. We've had quite a lot of guests on recently. You guys really liked the Simon Mensing podcast, and of course our last one was Ziggy Gordon, which we'll be posting up a lot more. Had a really interesting discussion with him about Martin Canning and his thoughts on his tenure. I've been interested to let you guys see that. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and let us know what you thought of it. Go again, give it a watch, and let us know your thoughts on Martin Canning. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.